guys, welcome to my channel. My name is Cassandra if you're new here. Have you ever been in a car accident and not known what to do? Do you wonder what happens with your insurance company? Because I sure did. And so now that I've experienced these things, I thought that they would be really beneficial to share with you. So the first thing to do is make sure you, especially if you are angry, take time to take a few deep breaths before you get out of your car or talk to the person. Sometimes they'll just run into their car. I know we've rear-ended someone before so minorly that we didn't have to do anything, but they got right out of their car and were right in our face. And just take a minute to calm yourself. For me, my husband was in the car with me, so I was able to say, you stay in the car, I'm not mad, because he was driving. I'm not mad, I'll go talk to the person. But first, before even that, make sure everybody in your car is safe. We had 2 kids in the car, so we stopped. Are you guys okay? Is everything okay? Because we were hit quite badly from the back. Our car ended up being totaled. Yeah, we took a second, made sure everybody was okay in our car. So we did that, got out, talked to the other person, and I realized, I didn't know what to do. We were in the middle of the road, and he said to me, why don't we get off the road and go find a safe place to talk? And I thought, yeah, that's a good idea. So that would be my third thing I would say is make sure that you are safe, that everybody's safe. Get off the road. We had a parking lot. Just if you can drive your car away, of course. Sometimes you cannot. Sometimes you're just stuck. But if you can go to a safe place, make sure you do that first before you start talking about things and doing logistical things. The other thing is that if you think that person for some reason is going to keep driving, that you're going to pull off into a safe spot and they're going to keep going because they don't want to claim the insurance, I would take a few, if they seem angry, there's something off to you, then I would start right away and take a few snapshots of their license plate and their car, if you can. If you think everything's fine, then definitely pull off to a safe spot. So the next thing would be to call the police right away if necessary. And I say if necessary, and I didn't know if it was necessary, but we did call them, and I suggest you do too if there's any kind of pretty good damage to your car, because they will tell you if you needed to call them or not, basically, right? Don't call 911, call the police station, and they'll tell you what you need to do from there, especially if you forget, if you don't remember what you need to give the person or do, they'll let you know. So that's something I always forget. I was in my first car accident, the car was totaled, I was off the road in a ditch, the car was a disaster, and I didn't remember to phone the police. I just walked to my friend's house and started to freak out, and they said, did you call the police? And I was like, no. So that's something you need to remember pretty much right away, is to call the police. So they'll make a police report, which is especially helpful for your insurance. They'll give you a number, and that's what your insurance company will use to determine if you're at fault or not. So they will either come down and look at the accident or help you get off the road. This is all depending on the severity of the accident, obviously. But for us, they didn't even come look. They just said, what happened and put in their report what happened. And we sent photos to them as well. That's the other thing. It depends on how amicable the person you got in an accident with is, or you are if you caused the accident. Because I think it was a little easier for us because he just said it wasn't. In the end, he said it wasn't my fault. Or it wasn't your fault at all. I want to say at the beginning, when I first got out of the car and walked over to him, I think he was expecting me to be angry. And so the first thing out of his mouth, before I could get anything out of my mouth, was, well, what were you doing? And I'll tell you what I was doing just so that you have an idea of what was going on. We were just stopped, had our signal on. It was icy conditions, and we were waiting for the person to drive by the other side of the road so we could make a left turn. So we were fully stopped with our signal on, and he smashed into the back of us. So I said, I was just calm, and I said, what were we doing? And I said, well, are you all right? I just was like, whatever. Are you all right? Is everything okay? And he's like, oh, yeah, everything's fine. Whatever. And then I can't remember exactly what happened, but a few more things, and I just stayed really positive and calm, and that's when he said, let's pull over. And so as we started talking, as he pulled over, my friend was taking pictures of the license plate of his car, of our car, and make sure to get all the damages. He also was taking pictures of things like, does he have winter tires on? Click a picture. He did not, right? And so all the things you could use as evidence to prove it wasn't your fault is basically what you're doing. So my friend was doing that while I was talking to him, and as I started to talk to the man, he was like, okay, I can see how maybe this was both of our faults, and whatever. And I said, well, I said, I didn't say anything. No, it wasn't our fault. So anyway, which was fine. I just knew he was upset. And, then he started to reveal that he was late and upset. And, this was going on in his life. He was going through a divorce and all these things. And we started to feel so bad. But anyway, so that's what started happening to me. And then by the end, he ended up saying, okay, I can see how this is totally my fault. I'm so sorry, whatever. And, I think he was just embarrassed and he was angry. He was going to be late and there was all these things going on, all these emotions, and it was totally fine in the end. So, that's my next thing to do is take photos. Take photos of everything you think could be evidence of, if it wasn't your fault, especially if it wasn't your fault. I mean, obviously these things don't really apply if it was your fault. If the other person doesn't want to take photos, I'm not suggesting don't be honest, but I'm saying you don't need to be out there snapping a bunch of photos if you smashed into someone, These are all things assuming it wasn't your fault. So then the next things you need to exchange, which I didn't know, I thought you just had to exchange insurance information, but you actually need to exchange, both of you, no matter whose fault it was. You both need to exchange insurance information, you both need to exchange ownership information, and you both need to exchange license plates or licensing information, sorry. So, by the way, I am in Ontario, Canada here, guys, so this stuff might not apply to you where you are from, but I think it's pretty universal depending on what country you're in and things like that. But just a heads up, I am in Ontario, Canada, if you do have a problem with any of these rules, or they're different from where you're from. Let me know if they are different, actually. If you're in America, especially, or anywhere else in the world, and some of these things, or there's more essential things that you do need to do that maybe I've forgotten about, or that are essential for you in your country or state or whatever. Please comment that down below so that we can help other people if they do come to this video and they're looking for information and it's not in my video. Then maybe it will be in the comments below. So that would be really helpful. So exchange all of those things, if your insurance, your license information, and ownership information. So the other thing is I wasn't sure, number 6 is when to insure or contact your insurance company. I wasn't sure if you had to do that right away or if you could wait, and you can wait. They do usually have like emergency hotlines, but for us, I did call that night when we got home. It was Christmas Eve, by the way, so that sucked big time. But they ended up just starting a claim, which was nothing, which was just like basically asking you my name and here's a claim number. It was nothing that I needed that was essential. And then they just said we kind of have to deal with it when we someone's available, kind of thing. And so the first thing they did for us was asked if we had car seats, because they immediately in Ontario need to be replaced, and if you get in any kind of accident. So we did, and they ask you to send them a comparable model, like a link from a website to a comparable model of car seats. Now, I imagine that most people are pretty dishonest about this. They would send a picture of the fanciest car seat at the most expensive place, and that's what you get a refund for. They just transfer you the money. For us, we did e-transfer, but they can send you a check or whatever. And but we were as honest as we could. We found a model that was the closest to what we had, and also at the store that we bought it from. So we did that, and we immediately purchased new car seats with that. Then you can get into things like if you have rental coverage on your insurance. Yeah, so then they will, like, we had to deal with getting a rental car because we were out of town, and so we needed to get home because my husband had to go back to school and back to work. And so they give me, it's really easier than I thought, but for us, we were in a really small city, and so they didn't have any rental cars available at the time. We had to wait days for a rental car, and it was awful because they had to get it from another city and all this crap. So it was actually horrible. But usually I think it's quite easy. You just give them your claim number, and they just give you a rental. And for them, the girl told me on the phone that it's like $20 a day for them or something. So it's like super easy for them to just give you a rental. And we had, I think, $1,000 of coverage. But that's what the girl said to me when I first made the claim. But they are super stringent. You have to really, really fight with them. For example, our car got totaled, and so we had no car, and we needed to go find a new car, and they wanted us, as soon as they gave us a formal offer, to go return that rental that day. And we were like, no, we need to keep this rental so we can go look around and find different cars. And he sort of hemmed and hawed with me, and I'm sure it depends on who you get as an agent, but that is something you can fight for, an extension on your rental. I read that people had the rentals extended for like 3 weeks. By the way, this whole process of them getting from when I filed the claim to giving me an offer on my total car was about 2 to 3 weeks. And so I had a rental for all that time. But they took their sweet time with it. I don't know why. I don't know if that's normal. But anyway, just to give you some information there about that. So yeah, we ended up getting it extended for another week at least. It might have been a little more. And I extended it twice. I got him to extend it a few days and then a few days again. That sucked for us because we ended up rushing to buy another car, and now we're having all these problems with our new car. So what they will do is apparently look at your car and assess the damages and if it's going to cost more for them to fix it. Because they guarantee you, they fix it and then they guarantee it to you for a certain amount of time. I think it's like 6 months. And so if that's going to cost them more money, then they will just pay you out for the car. And a lot of people in this stage have said to me, or I have read, that they will give you the lowest amount possible and you need to fight to get what your car is worth. And I did not find that. We researched till the cows came home because they give you a breakdown. They give you 5 cars and they show you how they compare the costs. Like, so the kilometers, each kilometer is worth this much. And if it has this feature, it's worth this much or whatever. And you can like say that it's worth different things. You can fight on anything, any information that they give you. But we found they gave us way more for that car than we thought they would, and that we paid for it, and that we thought it was even worse. And I think it's because our car was on the low end. So when your car's under $5,000 kind of thing, then you're probably going to get a little more for your car than you would. If your car is over that, I would say probably you're going to need to do some fighting. And that to me is terrifying. Like if we're ever in that situation, I mean, they are not nice. Sorry if you're my insurance person or the guy working for the insurance company watching this. Like, let's think that's got to be one of the worst jobs I can imagine. Like, people are always going to be angry, like always fighting with you, and it sounds horrible. Although I did read that a lot of people accept the first offer, not even realizing that you can negotiate it. And so that is something to keep in mind, that you can negotiate your offer that you do get from your insurance company. So look at cars in your area that are the same make, model, year as your car. Around the same kilometers, and see and compare and do your own comparisons. I would definitely suggest that before talking to the insurance person. We tried things like someone told us to try saying, oh, we got an extra set of tires for the car. Can we be reimbursed for that? Or the safety costs that we had to safety the car, things like that. And we got none of that given to us, which was fine because, like I said, we got way more for the car than we thought we would. Another thing is you can see your claim online, at least we could, and it gives you an option to contact the garage, which we did. We were wondering if that car was going to be totaled or not. We were pretty sure it was because I guess there's a thing where if the frame is damaged, then your car's pretty much going to be totaled. They're going to pay you for it. So our frame was damaged. We were pretty sure. So we were pretty sure it was going to be totaled, but we did want to know so that we could start looking for other cars because we didn't want to do that if it wasn't totaled. So you could call the garage, and we found it from the garage first before we heard from our insurance company. So I do suggest that if you can call your garage if you're curious to do that, and they will let you know quicker. And after all that's done, you sign a few papers and things like that and send them to sign the back of your ownership information. They'll tell you what to do from there. I really hope, I just really hope this is helpful to you, and I hope that you keep on watching my future videos. Please consider subscribing if you do want to learn things together and become better together. I focus more on homeschooling, mom life, homemaking kind of things. But occasionally I'll do little things like this, little helpful information things for just the everyday person. So please consider subscribing, and definitely leave those comments below if there is something I missed that you think is essential, or if you have any questions or anything like that. So. And also give this video a thumbs up if you liked it and found it useful to you. So thanks so much, guys. I'll see you next time.